Good afternoon. My name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the energies for today's Monday's Musings. I think it's the 28th, yes, the 28th of August. I'm trying to come back with a second version of the original recording that I did today, and that was actually in the morning. And there's something there about waiting. Waiting. You know, when we first wake up, you know, when we have, you know, that fairy dust, that sleepy bugs in our eyes, and we're not quite with it. Yeah, we're still half in dreamland, half in the physical realms, and we wake up. If we start to do things straight away from that moment, they're not always as clear as they could be. This morning's video, there was a lot of energy coming in and a lot of confusion and a lot of hedonistic type, it was like a big cloud actually that I actually had to clear and cleanse. And then I tried to continue the video. I had to pause and I had to wait until the afternoon. Much like waking up in the morning, you know, we have to pause. We have to have that drink. We have to, whether it's tea or coffee or, you know, hot lemon if you're great. I used to. We have to take that pause, that moment to just recognize where we are. For me, that has taken waiting and doing a second video because there was so much coming in, and it feels like that's the emphasis this week. To recognize that the cat is out of the bag, to allow time to integrate, you know, to not necessarily avoid saying things first thing, but to be aware that we may be doing that. We may be reacting from a place where we're not fully awake, and that's okay, but being aware of that, pausing and taking some time. So there are a few things from the first video that I am going to mention. There are a few things I'm not going to delve back into, because the emphasis there was to recognize where our energy is needed and where it isn't, and the impact. And it was such a stark reaction and impact that can happen when we step into things that we're not asked to step into this week. You know, being very mindful of people lashing out, of feeling quite a rejection or quite a physical push to stay where we are not needed. This week is going to be key to really sense into that, to avoid the necessary need to go back to sleep as a result. So, you know, a lot of people talk about waking up. You know, I don't mean just first thing in the morning, I mean to awareness, I mean to what is going on out there. Obviously, we need to wake up to what is going on inside as well. As if it's the ultimate goal, as if once you're awake, you stay awake. Now, we need to be asleep in order to wake up. We need to wake up to realize we were asleep. We need to go back to sleep in order to wake up. It's a continual process. Okay, but in order to avoid going to sleep this week, it is very important that we don't tire ourselves out, that we don't step into energy that is not applicable to where we're at, that we don't repeat unnecessary cycles, that we really feel inside this week the difference between a psychic and a seer, that next level intuition thing. And how do we do that? We do that with our body. You will sense it. You will sense, hang on, I feel really confused. This, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. I feel a bit lost in this energy. So don't be there. Step back. The other thing that came up this week, or in the reading this morning, was about being comfortable in our discomfort, which is kind of like a double-edged sword, right? So on the one hand, I've just mentioned about not stepping into situations where we don't feel comfortable. And on the other hand, I'm saying, okay, be comfortable with not feeling comfortable. This week's energy is going to be a play on each other, a reflection, a mirror on each other. We have a Pisces full moon, so we have that psychic, mystic, you know, double super moon jobby. It's going to be quite illusionary out there. if we don't recognize what makes us uncomfortable because we haven't allowed ourselves to feel discomfort, how are we going to know what to step into and what to step away from? Discomfort is a warning sign. Okay, discomfort is an opportunity for the body to say, I don't feel safe here for whatever reason. And it is our responsibility to then look at what is going on externally and internally as a result. The whole screen just flickered. The other thing, so I was going to say I made the mistake, but it's not a mistake. I took my hair down this morning and haven't been able to control it since. It's doing its own thing. And there's a real emphasis this week, not on my hair, but there's a real emphasis this week on feeling as if we've done something we shouldn't have, feeling as if we've lost control, feeling almost a remorse, a regret, a wishing we hadn't done what we'd done because now we have no control. And there's a lot there about recognizing that actually things needed to open up. Actually, things needed to find their own way. I hear the song, Go Your Own Way. Things needed to go their own way. This week in particular, many would have felt that building up. I feel it here in a migraine, in pressure here as well. Many of us would have felt that building up. To observe, to witness, to flow with what is going on. The other thing that I've noticed this week, I have had... I've lost count of the amount of characters that my soul has decided to play out and to feel this week. I've gone from feeling really low. I've gone from being super, super high. I've gone from feeling quite coy, quite very seductive. I struggled to say that word then. Submissive, aggressive, you name it. I have seen and felt so many versions of myself this week. It's been quite a rabbit hole, actually. It's like, wow. Now, I would say masks. I've been removing many masks, but actually these are all parts of who I am. And it felt really important this week for myself, at least, to allow these to be seen so that I can bring them back. For me, the masks were the judgments that I had on them. It was that I was letting go of. So when I felt low, I let myself feel low. I didn't try and chimney myself along. I didn't fear that I was going to be in this never-ending pit of despair. I knew that by feeling it, going through it, at one point I would rise. Ultimately, I will return there as well, but I will rise from that too, because I have before. There were times when I felt really young and feisty and crazy, and rather than think that's not appropriate, even on my Instagram reels, the different types of stories that I've shared, it's kind of like, who has hold of Kirsty's social media at the moment? There's like 20 different people there, and I've shared different things that I'm interested in based on where I'm at, different versions of myself, and I've allowed myself to be that way without any judgment. Not without any judgment, I've had judgment on the judgments, but I've allowed them all to flow into each other. What I have realised this week, and what a lot of us will be facing this week, is the retrieval of certain forgotten aspects that we may not even have noticed we'd forgotten, that have come about as part of this. So some of the 90s music that I've shared has really, I saw a thing the other day, and it's not called triggered, it's called glimmered. Has really glimmered, has really allowed me to see the light of who I was in the 90s. And to feel that freedom and that sense of fun, and to know that actually it wasn't the music that did that, right? That's in me, that's always been in me. There a lot of the things that came to light this week, I had a lot of memories of how strong I was, how connected I was in what I was doing and what was going on around me, from helping horses at 12 years old when they were fitting in the middle of the street, to delivering babies that were stuck, and healing health concerns that may have returned but that I've also healed. And what I'm getting at this week is all of that came to light to remind me of who I am. Sometimes we can get really caught up in the illusions that are occurring around us. And I don't mean illusions as in they're not real. What I mean is illusions as in we take them on as our own. How somebody sees us becomes our own perception. This week it's really, really important not even to surround yourself with people that see the nice side of you or the strong side of you or even the shadow side of you, but to really look at how you see yourself, because that can be one of the biggest illusions. I'm not all love and light. I'm not all peace and calm. I'm not always chirpy, but I'm equally not always low and deep as well. And if we can embrace all those different versions of ourselves, then we're going to find the transition of self-mastery from now until the full moon much easier. It is going to get lighter as we move into September, as Venus starts to return, you know, as the planets start to shift and make a move forward. It is going to get lighter, but until then it's about lightening up within. There's a reason that the planets are all going backwards. What we say is going backwards. It's a chance to really look internally what is going on for us. You know, we have Venus. Do we embrace our own love? How do we see the love that we are? We have Mercury. How do we communicate that love with ourselves as well? We have Uranus going backwards. How crazy are we? How do we feel about being crazy? You know, how willing are we to let that be seen by the world? A lot of the posts I'm sharing of late have profound language in them, you know, sometimes just, oh darn it, doesn't do. So they have profound language in them. They have different, what we wouldn't normally perceive as spiritual type posts. I am more than my spirituality. I am more than my role. I am more than my gender. I am more than my shadow and my light. I am all of those encompassing, as are you. And this week there's a real opportunity to expand the perception of who we are, even beyond the expansions that we think we're in. You know, we can think that we're awake, but we can still be asleep in our observations and the witness of ourselves. We can still be asleep whilst believing that we're awake. Okay, so it's about really taking it to the next level this week in particular. So on that note, I'm going to look at the energies because we're nearly 12 minutes in. I should just do videos where I waffle on. But we will look at the cards and see how to best navigate the trippiness of this week, because it is trippy. You know, I can feel the back of my eyes are just like, there's so much light coming in this week that obviously the more light, the more shadow. Okay, and it's about recognizing that we get those parts of ourselves when we need them the most. So when we find ourselves in our shadow, we know that we're about to find something that's going to really help us embrace that, but we have to find it in there. So it's like getting the medicine of the wound. Okay, we need the wound in order to get the medicine. Or do we? So yes, there is a real trippy energy this week where we're being asked to question our core beliefs and just how much they do sustain us. Maybe letting some of the other characters come out to play and seeing what they have to say about everything that is going on this week, which is why I'm working with a completely different deck. Oh, get down, can I get back up? Chiro Marchetti, and it's the Legacy of the Divine. Now I like this deck, or do I like this deck? I don't know, because I haven't really worked with this deck, and the reason I haven't worked with this deck is they're a little bit out there. They've got a lot of planets. They're a little bit spacey for my liking, but it feels quite poignant that we stretch ourselves this week, that we maybe look at different things, okay, that we maybe look at different angles, that we maybe connect to different energies in regards to certain aspects. So I'm going to use these, and I've already had a bit of an insight that came to light with I asked what the reading would be about, and we had the moon card come up. So yes, of course, with the Pisces full moon. I asked how to best navigate the reading, and it was the Three of Wands. So how can we get you to move forward, or collectively, how can we move forward through these energies? Because even though they're trippy, they do feel like still walking through treacle. So the head is like, yay, hi-ho, off we go. And the body almost feels like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can. It's like wading through this heavy duty past type energy. So it's about combining the two here and finding a way that we can move forward. I then asked how we could best do that, and the Queen of Cups came up. So it is very much about our flow here. And there was another card, and I can't remember what it was, because it doesn't matter. What we're going to do now is actually look at the reading. Okay, so energies this week. My eyes are being drawn to a tub of Vaseline this week. And what do we do when we use Vaseline? We use it to soften things up, right? We use it to make movement easier. Okay, it's got here on the tin, it's the original lip therapy. Okay, so really softening up the language that we use this week is going to be key. And the card at the bottom is, I've just realized he's not called the Hanged Man in this deck, but the Hanging Man, which is really, really interesting. So in the other decks, he's called the Hanged Man. It's already happened. There's nothing you can do. He's hung. Yeah, he just has to wait. In this deck, it's called the Hanging Man, and there's almost like a recognition that there's motion still occurring. Even though he's hanging, there's still movement there. Okay, so even though it feels as if nothing is shifting this week, even though it feels as if we're being guided to almost float with what is occurring, to be in limbo, by being in limbo there's so much movement that can occur. So with this Hanging Man card, you can see here at the bottom that the timer is horizontally. You're not going to lose out by waiting. You're not going to lose time. You're not going to lose money. You're not going to lose credibility by pausing and just taking a moment to see how something feels. Does it feel floaty and light and supported and free, or do I feel restricted here? You can see that he's letting go of all the coins. Okay, so he's letting go, I say he because it's portrayed that way, but the masculine, the actions, they're not about material abundance here. They're not about material expectations. There's a word I'm trying to find and I can't. Attachments. They're not about material attachments here. He's letting go of all of that. Okay. You can also see at the bottom here that the Fool's Mask, I don't know if you can see right at the bottom, the Fool's Mask that was originally worn, he's also letting go of that. So he's freeing himself up, allowing our actions to be free of what we think they should be, of who we think we should be, to let go of the physical attachments, not just of money, but, you know, the mother that feels she should, I can relate to this, should cleanse and clear the home and cook the dinner, and oh hi, if that's not your thing, it's not your thing. To really let go of that this week is unless we can release ourselves from these burdens of physical expectations that we've put on who we are based on the judgments of the masks that we wear, we're not gonna step into that self-mastery of what we came here to be. We're not going to truly embrace, you know, the Hanging Man is the Christ consciousness, that light within us. It's not about doing more this week, but letting go of what you don't want to do. Okay, and she says that so flippantly, like it's so easy. I don't know other people's situations, you know, but you do. You know what you're going through and you know what's working for you and what isn't. Okay, so standing in that, finding the support in that and the freedom in that. It can be very difficult to know when something isn't working for you, but once you know that it's not working, once you feel into the discomfort, you know, the memories of being in that position before may come forward to help you find the medicine, or you may receive the answers that you need. But it is about recognizing the discomfort is there to help you find out what it is that makes you feel safe and held and comfortable. Okay, so we'll look at the energies of the week. Energies of the week and how to best navigate them. So back to the Vaseline, the other thing that I'm hearing with the lip therapy is, you know, talking a good talk. It's all well and good talking a good talk, but less talk is more this week, more action. Now, action doesn't mean that you have to do as such, but you can sit and be with what is occurring rather than downplaying it, convincing yourself that it's not happening or questioning it. If your communication is helping you find the answers and the strength that you need to do whatever it is you need to do without giving you the splitting headache that I can feel, like the pressure in the temple here, great. If it isn't, just shh and feel. Find a place where it's safe enough for you to do so, the Queen of Cups, and allow those emotions just to go within and around you, so you can see and sense what is actually going on for you. It might not be might not be this huge thing that you think it is. It might just need a bit of nurture, a bit of awareness, a bit of lifting things up, a bit of love. Okay, so yeah, now I can share it. So yeah, the three of coins. Seek out advice from those that you listen to, okay, from those that can help you work on what is going on. I had an incredible dream last night, and my first initial reaction was, oh, do not connect to the downloads that are coming down because they're all shadow and da-da-da-da-da. And I mentioned it to my husband, who isn't spiritually inclined. And his first words were, you need to do the moon eye key. And I thought, well, I do the moon eye key, I share the moon eye key. And he said, you need to receive the moon eye key. Now, I have received the moon eye key, that's how I can pass them forward. But what he was hinting at is to open up and receive the energy that I pass on for others, for myself. And that really feels like key this week, to allow ourselves that energy to come in, to really sustain and help us towards what it is we are trying to achieve, to let it be the guiding force. So the moon eye key is love energy, to let that be the guiding force behind everything that we do. What is it you need? What is it you offer to others? Allowing that to come through yourself so that you can then work towards the next stage. The only real work in life, the only real growth in life is to be who you are. The only real connection is to walk our talk, to be our path, to listen to the things that we say for the medicine for ourselves that they are. So that's that lip therapy thing. That's that recognizing where you're talking a good talk. Are you embodying what it is you are suggesting others do? Yeah. Okay. And then we can start to look at why we're even suggesting others do it in the first place. So yes, round and round and round. Great potential for healing this week. Huge potential for healing this week. If we can just let go and let whatever wants to come up and through and over and in be whatever it needs to be. Okay, so energies this week and how to best lighten up. I really feel that. I really feel once we've looked at it from all angles, the best way to move forward is to go, fuck, that was intense. Okay, I've just got through that. Okay, breathe, lighten up, smile, you know, allow your body to smile. Right, okay. And then underneath, my tummy's gurgling. Then underneath, I feel a hunger for the new once we allow ourselves to do that. And that's where we get that sensation of wanting to go back to sleep, because I hear to sleep, perchance to dream. Okay. We are awake, we're always awake. Even when we're asleep, we're awake. You know, there's lucid dreaming there. Even when we think we're not aware of what's going on, we are aware of what's going on different levels. And this whole movement to be woke, to be constantly on the ball and aware of everything that's going on in a very almost aggressive type manner, calling things out all the time and trying to change and trying to shift and, you know, do, wide awake. What I see is like matchsticks in our eyes. It's okay to pause, to breathe, to close our eyes and to dream. It's essential to dream so that we can then bring that into our waking world. And we have the Six of Wands there. That's where the victory lies. Okay, so this week when things are a bit much and you feel the urge to step away, then step away. Your body is asking you, and that feels quite emotional, your body is asking you to step away, to breathe, to be okay with. It doesn't mean that you're not woke. It doesn't mean that you're not doing your bit. It doesn't mean that you're not charging forward towards victory. And, you know, it means that actually you are part of the ride. And there's that moment where you just need to be guided, where you need life to take you forward rather than pushing. Okay, so energies this week and how to best navigate it. Let's break it down. Not to push, but to find some kind of structure that can really help when things get a bit too much, to just look at what's in front of us in each moment. Energies this week so that we can look at what's in front of us in each moment. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords here. Now, we have the Knight of Swords at the bottom of the pack, and I feel really guided to say that it is at the bottom of the pack. And what I see here, you know, when you wear the pointed tinfoil hats to protect the crown chakra, to really look at where we may need to protect our mind this week, where we may need to look at what energy is coming in, particularly from and through the higher energy chakras, and to take time out, okay, and to ensure that we're not just in our mind. So there's no body here. There's no body here on this card at all. All that's there is remnants of an old skull. All that's there is protective, it's just not needed anymore. My whole screen just stopped then. It's just not needed anymore. It's like a lag of the mind, and allowing that to catch up. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. So overall, we do have the 10 of Cups. We do have that moment of just being. Heart, home, hearth, comfort. Really, really important if we are to feel into what is going on this week, including the areas we may not find comfortable, to find things that help us do that, to find things that bring comfort for us emotionally. There are some, you know, 10 of Cups is a beautiful card, but it's also the ending of what made us happy. And there are some things this week that are going to come to light where we may think, this isn't quite what I want anymore. I'm ready for the next stage. That comes from gratitude. I'm really, really grateful for this, but actually what is going to happen as a result? I'm really grateful for this, but what now? Or I'm really grateful for this, but I yearn for more. Okay, and using the gratitude that we have to open up our heart towards those desires this week is going to be key. Finding things that we love, connecting to nature, you know, connecting to the warmth of others, you know, finding space in our own home for the sanctuary that it is, and if it isn't, maybe making it more so. This week with the supermoon, it's close to us, which makes it bigger, which makes it super, but all that means is it's actually close to us. So it will be related to the home, it will be related to everyday life and our own situations this week. Close to the bone, yes, not really. Close to the heart. That's what it feels like. We have the choice whether it's to be close to the bone, and that's going to come from that Knight of Swords, that's going to come from that feeling of needing to do based on our mental action, or close to the heart, which is going to come from how we feel. Okay, and there's a real difference between that this week. But overall, it is very much about fulfilling those aspects, what brings us joy. Whatever is going on, even if it's uncomfortable, it is about helping us to realise what brings us comfort. So on the Monday we have the Four of Swords, and this was actually this morning's card as well. And you know, that's that whole asleep awake analogy. Okay, so if you feel as if you need to take time away, it's Bank Holiday Monday, right? I'm going to do this video and then that's it for the day. It's Bank Holiday Monday. If you have the opportunity to take time away today, do so. Allow yourself the chance to just dream, to just be, to lull around for a little bit, to let the mind rest. There was a saying that I heard this morning that something about letting the mind rest is to the soul like letting the body sleep, something like that. And it's nourishment. Okay, if we can just let the mind rest, it could be incredibly nourishing. On the Tuesday, that then brings forth the light that we need. This is the Sun card, yeah, that brings forth the balance that we need. That again is that analogy of I don't know if it was this video or the other video actually, the Mission Impossible, all those parts of ourselves that have been directed into all these different energies and roles out there doing what they need to do, coming back now to give us the information. Okay, so that part that we may not have liked, that we pushed to one side, has still been gathering information. What can you share with me? What can that version of me of the 90s bring forth? You know, that light, that joy, that freedom of dancing, you know, and my Aran jumper and my dungarees. What can that bring forth, those memories there? And it's really, really important to allow ourselves to receive those sides. You know, this week I've really struggled with the aspect of desire and my body yearning for things, but underneath it all, that desire helped me to be a midwife and help all those people. That desire helped me to give birth to my son that they said I would never have. So really allowing those aspects to come back with the medicine. They've been fine-tuned. They've, you know, you've gone through removing them, looking at them, healing them, working with them. Now just allow them to come back with the fun and the inspiration that they can potentially bring for you. Okay, really receiving yourself on all levels on Tuesday, even though it's just the Sun card. That's what I really see here. Okay, there actually, it's a very logical view of it. What I wanted to say was there is a potential here of believing that the world revolves around us. on the Tuesday, being mindful of that, and maybe in that moment it does. Maybe in that moment it does. So really feeling into what is actually occurring for you. You know, we can very much talk about the macro and what's going on out there, but unless we know what's going on inside, it's a co-collaboration here. There's no point saying I can't commit because I've got such and such and such and such. Okay, it's really, really looking at what's going on there and the impact that has on those around you, and ultimately back onto yourself. So it feels like a very mirror type energy Tuesday. In order to see our light, it feels quite necessary that we take a good look at ourselves on the Tuesday, and where we feel that the world revolves around us and how we actually feel about them. Because for me, my body's gone, but actually there are times when I know, looking back, my narrative needed to revolve more around myself. Okay, and it was to do with my childhood actually, and the Sun card can be very much linked to the inner child or the inner wild. So on the Wednesday we have the Six of Swords, and we have a wonderful opportunity to start sailing forth through this darkness. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know about anyone else, but that's definitely how it's felt for me. Excuse me, the last couple of weeks. Not in a darkness as in I didn't know where I was going, but the journey of Anana. It was that descent. I knew the journey. I knew what was going on. You never really get to know how it's going to happen or what to expect, because it's the dark night of the soul, right? If you knew all of the answers, then it wouldn't be the underworld journey. But I did know that I would come out of it. If we can hold on to that on the Wednesday, not hold on to it, if we can allow that to guide us, this too will pass. This too will pass. It has before and it will again. And to just keep steering ourselves in the direction that we find ourselves going, and to trust that, to trust ourselves. Yeah, we can start to see that light at the end of the tunnel here. Is there anything else? I'm being made very aware of the hooded character in the back of the boat. And I'm not quite sure. It's like it's that character that's steering the boat. So I'm not quite sure why I'm being made aware of that. On the Wednesday, be aware of certain aspects that may not have the whole story yet, but that have made your ears prick up. That may be half the reason you're going in the direction that you're going in without even knowing it. Okay. So I don't want to put my own narrative on that. I almost want to wait and see. And that really feels like the energy on the Wednesday, to wait and see. To know that you can actually see where you're going. To know that there are forces you may not know about that are guiding your direction slightly. But to wait and see and trust that when the time comes, you will know what it is you need to do. To trust the mind. If we can trust the mind, it's the Six of Swords, yeah? If we can trust the mind rather than berate it, rather than question it, rather than try and hold it back, rather than protect ourselves from it, rather than feel as if it's our enemy, something, you know, the Knight of Swords that we have to fight. If we can trust the mind, if we can listen to the conversations that we have with ourselves, that brings harmony. 6 is harmony. That can bring harmony. We can work with the mind rather than it being a hidden character in the background that's directing us. And then on the Thursday, which is when the full moon is in the UK, I mean, obviously on the Wednesday it will start to build, but on the Thursday is when the full moon actually occurs first thing in the morning in the UK. We have the 6 of Cups. We have that childhood innocence there, and that feels quite important. Again, it's the 6, it's the harmony. Bringing balance to our emotions comes from our ability to see the world through the child's eyes. You know, when we're dreaming, yeah, that's a very childlike energy. When we're awake, it can be the same. And that doesn't mean that we bypass things. It doesn't mean that we don't see things. Children see things. Children know things. But it means that they see it through the eyes of beauty, of innocence, as if it is the first time that it's happened. And that feels really, really important on the Thursday if we want things to move forward. And I found myself looking down at the next card to see why we would need to see it through the childlike eyes. On the Thursday, if you feel uncertain of seeing things from a new beginning, on the Thursday, if you question the innocence that is required, remember the next card is the 8 of Wands. If we want things to move forward quicker now, it is about seeing it through a more light perspective, a more joyful perspective. So I know that the wound of wanting things is going to get larger for me as the full moon comes into fruition, because it's something that I struggle with, or rather something that has much to teach me. But I also know that this week I've done a huge journey with it, and all that's actually missing for me now is to laugh. It is to lighten up, is to go, oh, hello. Haven't I just spent all last week with you? Haven't I just spent the last 44 years with you? You know, you are from my childhood. What do I actually need to do that's different? Okay, so when we say see through the child's eyes, what we're saying here is it isn't about being naive. It isn't about stepping away from what is occurring. It is about seeing it as if it's the first time you've seen it. It is about being the fool here. It is about seeing the light of what is actually occurring by doing something different. On the Thursday, do something different. Something comes up that is repetition. What haven't you done about it? Maybe try that. Have some fun with it. On the Friday, that does bring about really fast changes. Now, why am I being drawn to the... I don't know. I'm being drawn to the center wand here with the circle crystal in it. And it reminds me of something. And I can't... It's a card that I've seen. It's an energy that I know. And all I can think is... It's on the front of the box. It's this wand here, and it's for the Queen of Wands. It reminds me of an energy I know. Well, of course, I'm the Queen of Wands in the tarot with my own astrological signs. I would be the Queen of Wands, and it reminds me of an energy that I know. So on the Friday, all these energies coming back, as I've mentioned before, remind us of who we are. Not who we used to be, who we are. We are still that person that likes to put our music and dance crazy. We are still that free soul that, you know, we find when we're on holiday. We are still that insecure individual when certain things come up. These are all aspects of us. And on the Friday, they are all coming together as the one. And if we can allow that to happen, you can see the Sagittarius just in the top. We can truly take aim. So on the Thursday, it's about feeling. Even though the full moon is on the Thursday, the energy still goes into the Friday. If we can allow ourselves to feel things in a more uplifting, joyful manner on the Friday, those parts of us that we've pushed to one side, they're creeping in, they're coming back, and it's like, yes, you have changed. You are ready for this crazy version of you to come back in, because you're not going to push it to one side. You're going to be more fun with it, more embracing with it, more understanding, more compassionate, whatever that more is for you. Okay, so whatever you've pushed to one side is going to help you bring more of what it is you've been seeking for. So yes, for me, there's probably a chance of more desire. Which is probably what I've been felt creeping up, and it's like, oh God, I can't do that without those parts that I've pushed to one side. They're going to help me deal and hold space for these yearnings, for this extra life, this extra creative force that is coming in. Okay, so really on the Friday, remembering it's going to feel familiar. The things that help you move forward, they're going to feel familiar. They may seem new in comparison to how you spent the last 10 years, 20 years, or year, whatever, but they feel familiar in your core. They're new to you because you've forgotten, but they're actually familiar to who you are on a soul level. Okay, on the Saturday, we then have the Six of Wands. We then have that moving forward. Okay, there's not really much else to say about that, to be honest. The wands are there in the background, the same wands. The shield is there with the dragon on. We have the horse. We have a great fancy hat on, you know, we have a lot of regalia there. Yes, it's successful. And I feel almost like not a despondent, a peaceful harmony. It might not be all songs, singing and guns are blazing and da-da-da, fanfares, cheering. It might, because it's the Six of Wands. But it might not be. It might be... Well, yes, of course, that made sense. It might be quite harmonious to the soul and to the spirit and the nervous system. So the nervous system has felt these changes for several weeks. And, you know, if you find yourself in like a fight or flight type energy, or in particular the last few weeks that have occurred, really feeling into knowing that your body is sensing change. It is sensing change. And by the Saturday, there's almost like a, that's what it was all about. Now, yes, okay, I can move forward here. You may get all songs dancing and it doesn't feel like it. Now, just because there isn't a big, huge fanfare doesn't mean it's not victorious. Okay. On the Sunday, we have the Hanged Man. So it's almost like everything in to do with the full moon on the Wednesday, Thursday doesn't actually come to light until the Sunday. Okay, and normally I say this energy has been all week, but actually no, it's on the Sunday, on the sun day. On the day that we allow that light to come in, that's when we can see what all of it is about. So yes, okay, if we... That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say. It doesn't need questioning. Every moment we allow the light to come in, that's when we figure out what everything is all about. You know, if we can open our heart, have patience and see what is actually occurring and see things from a different perspective, ourselves included, we are gifted the wisdom of everything that is occurring around us. But if we can't allow that light in, then we're going to feel as if we're stuck. We're going to feel as if we're restricted. Okay. So let's bring it all together because we are nearly 50 minutes and I know my computer will say that I'm running out of space. We have two major arcanas, the Sun and the Hanging Man. And I'm going to say the Hanging Man, not the Hanged Man, the Hanging Man, because there is still that movement. Light moves, okay? Light isn't still. Light isn't, oh, I'm only light if I'm X, Y, and Z. Light moves. You move, you change, we evolve. That doesn't mean we're any less light this week. And that feels really poignant as we go into the full moon, to see what has changed and to see the beauty of that in ourselves and then those around us. Is there anything else on that? It doesn't feel, it feels really important to just feel it, to become our own world, our own sun, to revolve, I was going to say evolve, but revolve around ourselves, to really become the guardians of the light that we are here. Because that's what's going to give the support. That's what's going to give the wisdom and the different perspective that is so needed on ourselves and each other and the world at large. So we have 3 sword cards here. We have the Knight of Swords, the 4 of Swords and the 6 of Swords. And underneath the Knight of Swords is the 7 of Wands. And there's that real energy of, yeah, but not quite sure what's going on here. Yeah, but it could be this and it could be that. And there's a real deceptive type energy going on here. with our ambition, our drive and our desire, and it's coming from our mental state. So we have 3 swords here. So we are talking about creativity here. We are talking about the ability to move forward if we can just pause, find harmony within us and really look at where we are attacking our mindset, where we are attacking our emotions, where we are attacking the things that we may not want to look at, and why. Finding a way to feel comfortable to look at these aspects now, or not. You know, there's a difference between the Hanged Man and the Hanging Man. Okay, we then have 2 wand cards, which is a beautiful balance, and we have the 8 of wands and the 6 of wands. We have very fast movement if we can find harmony in our soul. We have very guided, aligned progression if we can balance the journey that we are on. We then have 2 cup cards, which are the 6 of cups and the 10 of cups. Dream. And if that means you have to go back to sleep for a minute, if that means that the world out there has become so much for you to look at, that everything you believed, everything you longed for, everything your heart needs is struggling to find it, go somewhere where you can rest your head. Go somewhere where you can go within to your chest. That does not mean you're not awake. That does not mean you are less woke. That means you are going into your heart coherence, and from there all things are possible. From there you have a great opportunity to balance out the changes that need to occur, not only for yourself but for others, not from the same mental energy but from the heart space, the power of love, the moon eye key, and receiving that for yourself. If you are in a situation that is making you continually go around the same patterns but isn't actually supporting or empowering you, it is your responsibility to say, I don't want to be in this situation. It is your responsibility to say, I feel uncomfortable as the guardian of this body, as this vessel, as this light. I need to step away from it right now and go and get what it is I need in order to come back stronger, lighter, more, whatever that fill in that gap may be. But that is your responsibility, and that's the Hanging Man and the Sun, okay? To open to your own light doesn't involve surrounding ourselves in situations that diminishes it. Oh, have the most wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy the full moon. Give yourself some self-care and have some fun. You know, have some fun. Take a break. Live life on all spectrums and just lighten up a little bit. You're human, right? Take care.